Palm Beach, Florida, watching the returns all over the country, or in several places in the South, really, with Washington in our background because we're discussing Washington on the earlier show and Will on this show. But in any event, as we broke from the Rudy Giuliani show to America's Mayor Live, as we told you to come here and we'd have some of the results, they called the election that I guess we're the most excited about, and that is the defeat of traitor Massie, who double-crossed the Republican Party and the United States any number of times with his votes-seeking adulation, time on television, the ability to make a stupid fool of himself on television, and also has helped to destroy the career of several other Republicans, including apparently Lauren Boebert, who I really did admire. And but he's been defeated, and even the New York Times calls it. It was 54.4 to 45.6, which in this day and age is quite a win. It's a 8-9 point clear win. We don't know what it'll eventually turn out to be. Do we have it? We don't have it yet on the.
No, I'll get it up in just a second.
Well, we can go on to the others since we have that one. You have Mike Collins up there. Mike is running for the United States Senate, correct?
Yes.
And Mike has a nice lead, but with a rather short, rather
that's right
number, only 20% in.
Right.
Now, is that a 50%?
Yes.
So it'll be. So it's really hard.
Chances are there'll be a runoff.
Well, chances. I mean, it does seem as if even with that small amount in, that Mike is in the runoff.
Yes, Mike Collins will be in the runoff.
In fact,
so it's a fight for the second.
All of the predictions were that he would he might not get to 50%,
right?
But that he would be in the runoff.
That's right.
And he's endorsed by the president.
Yes.
Okay, so now why don't you take over, Mr. Politics?
Okay, so of course the breaking news right now, and sorry, just a lot of moving parts here. So the breaking news right now is that Thomas Massie has lost to Ed Gallrein, the president's who the president backed.
So we actually had called those outlying districts pretty right.
We did, yeah. And so I want to put that up, but I got to move to do that. And then we're talking about, of course, we're following.
Well, start with any one that you think you have ready. It doesn't matter.
Right. So let's put this up on the screen, what we have, so that I can get up and move here. So what you're seeing right here is the.
So Collins is a little early, right?
Yeah. So what you're seeing up here is the Senate race in this is the Senate race in Georgia. This is the current. This is where things stand. Mike Collins with a sizable lead with only 20% reporting.
So this is to run against a senator that nobody out there knows who he is, right?
Yes, but the one to really watch here is the second place, right? So Derek Dooley and Earl Carter are fighting for neck and neck, just a few hundred votes separate them with 20% reporting, and so you really want to look at where the votes are coming in. This is Savannah area, Earl Carter's home area. This is Atlanta. This is where Derek Dooley's got some support. He's a former big-time college football coach. Mike Collins is Derek Dooley, and then Mike Collins is getting support throughout. It's more spread out, so that's very good for him. Now, for governor, sorry, that's a Democrat governor. Let's go to the Republican governor here. Burt Jones has President Trump's support, 36.5%. Rick Jackson right behind him at 35%. That's with 21% reporting.
All right, so that means a runoff, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Most likely.
The real question is, do they get rid of PPP Ratzenberger?
Right. And then in Kentucky, Andy Barr has won, and Gallrein has won.
Which could mean that his career is over, Ratzenberger. And then maybe I can find out if he doctored my tapes or the Bar Association lawyer did.
Right. So this is the breaking news here. And that's Kentucky. So those are the key races we're watching. We'll keep following them throughout the night.
So Gallrein, Massie's over.
Right.
in a certain way, it sounds like Jones and it sounds like Jones is in a runoff, right?
Right.
For sure, right?
No. Yes. Yeah. So we'll be watching all these races.
How close is he to 50?
He's only at 30 something.
Yeah. They're almost even, the two of them, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll keep watching it. We'll keep watching throughout the hour here, and we'll give more live updates.
So far, the Trump candidates have either won or they're holding their own, meaning they're on their way to a runoff.
Right.
They've either outright won or they're on their way to a runoff.
That's
right.
That's right.
And it sounds like Collins could get to 50.
Maybe we'll be watching that closely.
Well, there was I guess it's a good time to talk about this poll today. 63% of Republicans in this particular poll this is the CBS News YouGov poll. So the minute you see CBS News, let's assume we're going to get no favors, but let's look at the numbers anyway. It is an election night, and it's always good on an election night to see what the numbers are. So the considerable 63% of Republicans back Trump's handling of inflation, which of course people are theoretically disapprove of because of the press, really. It's down from 74% in March, so it's going a bit in the wrong direction. And only 27% of the broader public approve of his handling of inflation. That's going to change as inflation changes. Right now, inflation is at 3.8% for the last 12 months, way above the 2% Federal Reserve magic number. But America did add 115,000 new jobs, surpassing every forecast. So, yes, there's a problem in the economy. Things are getting somewhat more expensive, but more jobs are now available by a number considerably beyond what was expected. So this is a mixed economy at worst. Mm-hmm. So far, the Trump endorsement seems to be magic as a Republican. Julia Letlow defeated Cassidy the other day, right?
Right.
Looks like Massie got his ass kicked. 85% of Republicans approve of Trump. And that's compared to a 37% approval rating overall. So you know who disapproves, right?
Right.
The economy, basically 65% say it's uncertain, 63% say it's struggling. And people are quite concerned about artificial intelligence. However, when you match up Democrats and Republicans, only 35% say that Democrats have a better approach, and 31% say Republicans do. So there's not an awful lot separating the two, and therefore, to say that the 2026 congressional elections are over or they're going to go one way or the other, when you're at 35-31, I don't see how that's possible. Right. So, Ted, today, the Department of Justice, and I think Kara covered it on our last show, right, but I think it might be worth reviewing, created a $1.8 million anti-weaponization fund.
Yep.
It's part of dropping a $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS over leaked tax records. And the Justice Department established a large fund that could support, they say, the president's allies, but it's not the president's allies. It's anybody that can show they've been weaponized by government and their constitutional rights have been violated. But if you're a Republican, you're not entitled to be compensated for that. Well, that will change. Exactly the contours of it, whatever, the Justice Department's going to have to spell out. It sounds like it will. I mean, most of the emphasis so far on the questioning has been, how can you give money to people who were violent? Well, that is, of course, if they exist, only a small percentage of the January 6th people. We can look over and over again at tapes and videos, and we can see that the violence by the people was minimum. Question: who were the people? The idea that this was a rigged event is getting stronger and stronger, and the evidence is piling up. There's no question now that FBI agents were inside instigating. There's no question now that Antifa people were all over the place. I happen to have evidence that it was 254, and put that out the night of the event, which of course led to some, just in part, the persecution and attempt to destroy and bankrupt me. Now, those people that were jailed and put in prison, the 1,000 or so, or whatever it is, on January 6th, let's put away the violent crime for a minute. The vast majority didn't commit any violent crime. They committed, if anything, the crime of trespass. Highly questionable trespass, by the way. Let's take the most flamboyant of them, the guy, who was walking around like Tecumseh or whatever the heck that was, right?
Yes.
He never hit anybody. He never hurt anybody. They opened the door for him. They actually held the door for him. He prayed on the floor of the house. Cops prayed with him. They laughed at him.
Right.
They went and got a key to open the door for him. And then they escorted him out, and he went to jail.
Right.
But tell me what crime of violence he committed. It was, from all intents and purposes, you can watch that tape 150 times if you want, a joke. Instead, the man was terrorized by what turned into the Capitol Police and District of Columbia Gestapo court and prison system. These people were held in solitary confinement. They were held with rats. They were treated like the Japanese that were interred during the Second World War, if not worse. Now, you may elect not to believe that, but that's because you've been brainwashed. And that's a shame, because we're Americans and we don't allow that to happen in America. And that's only part of it. This will also compensate people, and certainly like me, of which there are many, worse, not as bad. I was, I'll give you just one or two. Shortly after I began representing President Trump, without any notice of any kind, they seized my records online, and they followed me consistently for several years, based on some kind of allegation. There had to be that there was probable cause I was committing a crime. There was no crime I could possibly have been committing except representing Donald Trump. And then afterwards, they got another affidavit from the Southern District of New York, got another warrant from the Southern District of New York, and came into my house and raided it, and raided my law office. In so doing, they destroyed my law practice. They destroyed my security business. Those both were worth millions of dollars. They were destroyed. They virtually drove me into bankruptcy, as did the case that was brought against me ultimately by the Biden people,
right?
With lawyers subsidized by the Biden people. Chief lawyer being Hunter Biden's former law partner.
Yep.
You don't call that weaponization? Well, that pushed me into bankruptcy. There's a point at which I had no cash. And they took every one of my possessions, including my grandfather's watch. And when I asked the judge if I could keep my grandfather's watch, he told me no. Democrat judge, of course, who rendered an opinion in one case in which after the testimony, I finished my testimony, he took a 5-minute recess and came out with a 20-page opinion that he had written before he even heard my testimony. So I'm just pointing me out because I know me in detail. I was I was literally, in a legal, constitutional, and human rights sense, raped by the Biden administration because of my support of Donald Trump, and because they knew they couldn't turn me. I mean, they aren't going to get me to lie like they did a few little pieces of scum.
Right.
But they wanted to quiet me down and destroy my reputation so you wouldn't listen to me, because they knew I was telling the truth. Remember, I'm number one here in the sense that I'm the one who first revealed Biden's criminality. And boy, let's not even talk about the spies who lied, huh? Who claimed that I am president with Russian agents. 17 months until that was corrected. Think they ever corrected that in terms of the damage it did to my reputation? Now, the mere fact that I don't let them get to me doesn't mean that I shouldn't be made an example of, in the sense that this should never happen to anybody else ever again. And there are a whole bunch of others. General Flynn.
Right.
Steve Bannon.
Right.
Pete Navarro, and people you never heard of, some of whom may have been hurt worse. I'm not claiming to be the worst hurt. I'm not claiming to be the least hurt. I was extremely damaged.
Of course. And
they should not be allowed to get away with it. They should have to pay, and the people who did it should go to jail. Now, I don't know about the second, if that's going to happen, right? We'll have to see. We will have to see. I was glad that the president endorsed Mr. Paxton today. Mr. Paxton is a very good friend of mine. Mr. Paxton was a loyal, strong, smart, and very effective colleague when I represented the president in the worst election fraud in the history of America. And he had the courage of a lion to bring that case that the Supreme Court never, ever should have turned down. And they turned it down because the Supreme Court just didn't want to listen to the case. Right. When one state sues another in the Supreme Court, it goes to the Supreme Court automatically. There was no jurisdictional issue there. If you're cheating in 4 or 5 states at the level at which they were cheating, and in which Attorney General Paxton and about 17 others, some of whom are now in the Senate, by the way.
Yep.
Like Senator Schmidt from Missouri, who's a great senator, by the way.
Right. He is.
He was one of the heroes there, too.
Right.
Your vote is affected. Sorry.
That's right.
We went through the worst period in the history of our Constitution.
Yep.
Under the fascist communist regime of Joe Biden.
Yes, sir.
So,
good point.
What's going on right now in Iran? I think it's time to catch up. The president has today explained, I thought rather, as he does all the time, my goodness, he tells you his thinking right off, no problem, that he was, did he say minutes away from the attack?
Hour.
1 hour away from the attack. And he decided to give them a little more time. He didn't name the intervening events, no. But we have heard that it involved Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Emirates. We have heard that. We do not know that. The only one I think we can, if not confirm, we can feel pretty comfortable about would be Qatar. I'm uncomfortable about the idea that the UAE wasn't on the side of encouraging him to attack, because they've been attacking back. And all of the information that I get tells me that they want this to end with a completely new regime that can deal with the rest of the region fairly and decently, which also means with the people of Iran, which means they want to get rid of the Islamic extremists. Otherwise, it's going to be constant warfare on and on and on. whatever the position Saudi Arabia took on this, deep in their heart of hearts, of course, that's what they want. Qatar is always very different. We don't know. We just don't know. And we'll have to see.
Right.
But in any event, the chances that they're going to up their offer, change their offer, they have dressed it up a little.
Yep.
They've added a long period of time before they get to enrich uranium again. Of course, they never should be allowed to enrich uranium ever in the history of the world. That's the issue. They've agreed to have the plutonium taken out, but please always look at the footnote by Russia. Yeah, right. And they agree to work something out on Hormuz, but they don't say exactly what. At the same time, they've announced an authority running Hormuz as if it's their property, as if it's their bridge. And now people are going to have to pay. And they've set out the lines you can go through and where you can go. And the IRGC says they're not giving that up. So we have the proposal sent in through Pakistan to the White House that says what I just told you. On the other hand, we have the IRGC, who we all believe is really running the government, saying, we're not giving up Hormuz. We're not letting them come in and take out the plutonium. Maybe we'll let the Russians do it. Now, let's step away from all of this and say to ourselves, all of us together, if they were to sign an agreement with everything in it that I dictated, or President Trump, could you trust that they would do it? And the answer is no. I would not. And I would be very nervous about the future of the world if we did. So I do not understand how this doesn't end up with our doing what the president was 1 hour away from doing, which I assume was a 3-part attack by the United States and really what might be the second most lethal military force in the world, the IRGC and their Air Force. A combination of take out everything they have, with the exception of their oil. Destroy what they have in Hormuz, so Hormuz is irrelevant. Take over Hormuz and destroy all of their boats and ships that are creating a problem there, so that Hormuz is free of any Iranian influence at all and can be patrolled by the United States, an international force or whatever, and not by Iran. Do further decapitation of the ones who have been leading the government to date, and reveal to the world that all during the time that we have been talking to them and putting somewhat of a good light on it, they've been executing the hell out of people, particularly members of the MEK. Whether they did any today or not, I don't know, but they have over the last 4 days executed for at least 4 or 5 people. They do it without a trial. They just put them in solitary confinement. And then they go pick 1, 2, hang them. They hang them in the Shah's prison. Let me also point out that the Shah is attempting to speak to the European Parliament, I believe. And there's a great deal of debate as to whether to allow him to speak. Given the fact that his only claim to the throne is being the heir to a murderer and a thief who has his own responsibility for the horrible condition of Iran, and given the fact that he's led the life of a playboy and a very rich man, never worked, never had a source of income other than the money stolen from the people that he wants to now rule. Also, he's never, ever lifted a finger to help them in any meaningful way. And I can personally testify to that because I've been lifting a lot of fingers for the last 13 years, and he hasn't been standing next to me. I've been with people who have been risked their lives doing it, including myself. He wasn't with us. He's also made incendiary comments about going to war with the Kurds, which would mean we'd go right into a civil war should he in some way be put in charge of Iran. And if he does have support, which is highly questionable, it would have to be limited to less than half of the people of Iran, because the non-ethnic group in Iran hates him, because they hated his father, because his father focused on them and tortured them. The prison, by the way, where most of the executions have done, was built by his father. When I was with MEK last, you might remember, I met with a family who lost 8 children to the horrible terrorism that goes on within the Iranian government from the Shah and the Ayatollah. 4 of the children were killed by the Ayatollah, and 4 of the children were killed by the Shah. And they see no distinction. It just went from horrible to horrible. And there is no question, given the people who support him, the elite, that he will just continue the problem, the deep-rooted problem of Iran, which has now morphed into religious extremism. The deep-rooted problem is selling the people out for oil. So let's hope the European Parliament says thanks, but no thanks. We're not big on kings, I mean, we got a couple, we'll keep them, but we don't want to create new ones. Huh? Didn't we do away with kings? Ukraine so what's going to happen? What I do believe is going to happen is that at some point we're just going to have to pull the trigger, literally and figuratively. And when we do that, this regime will collapse. I actually believe that unless we make some terrible, terrible mistake, that this regime will collapse sometime within the next 6 months.
Wow.
Unless we make a mistake. And anything we can do to accelerate that saves the lives that they will cost us as long as they are in charge. So in Ukraine, we've had like a two-way situation. Russia made some very, very extensive attacks on Ukraine 2-3 nights ago, to the point where they did some of the mayors, including Mayor Klitschko of Kyiv, said with just about the worst damage to civilians that they've done during the war. But the other night, Ukraine answered dramatically by hitting cities, by hitting in Moscow, taking out several electric plants, taking out supply plants, taking out some military installations, and also as a after effect, some civilians. And it was, many people believe, probably the worst attack that they've been able to pull off in Moscow. And it was certainly the deepest attack in terms of deep into the country. Now, there may have been a counterattack by Russia since then. I'm not sure.
Yes, I believe so in Kiev, but I'll
let's check on that. When we come back, I want to talk to Ted about something that is very. Is it very troubling, or are we making it more than it is, and therefore making it troubling. And that's the Mangione effect, the Mangione illness, sickness, insanity, ridiculousness, absurdity. I mean, the guy's a stone cold killer and should actually be executed.
Right.
But
We'll
be right back. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because we like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Welcome back to the
America's Mayor Live.
Yeah, I was about to say the Rudy Giuliani show. Ted came in just at the right moment, and I was just catching up here on the Mangione case.
This is interesting.
Because I just never anticipated this. This was about as cold-blooded a murder as you can get. I mean, he tracked the guy, he followed the guy, he planned it, and then he blew him away.
Crazy.
Because he runs a health company, and health companies deny people claims. Well, first of all, he's the CEO of the company. We don't even know what involvement he might have had in denying claims. Yes, health companies deny claims, but yes, people cheat like hell. I mean, it is not a one-way street. This is not like, oh, those terrible health companies, they just deny claims. In a place like New York, I don't know, if half the claims are legit, you're doing good. You've got law firms that got doctors that work for them that make up injuries. You got cases that get blown open because the guy who claims he's a paraplegic runs in the Olympics. I mean, come on. When I see those personal injury billboards all over the country, and this is a little unfair because it's not all over America as crooked as it is in New York. It really isn't, not even close. The New York court system is pretty much worse in the lower depths of the New York sewer system. since the Democrats have controlled it for 175 years. Now, I have to say that Mangione's got a very, very good judge, Gregory Caro. I appointed Gregory Caro originally to the New York criminal court, and then later he got elected to the Supreme Court. I assume, unless he's acting. Caro has suppressed the evidence found during the search of the backpack at the McDonald's, including the magazine, the cell phone, the passport, the wallet, and the computer chip. But evidence obtained from a later search was handled properly, the judge said. The cataloging and the photographing of the notebook was a valid part of the inventory search. The gun, which was in a separate backpack compartment, was discovered at the station house. And that certain statements that Mangione made to police before he was given Miranda warnings couldn't be used at trial. But others later could. Mangione wore a navy blazer and a button-down shirt when he was in court, and this whole thing seems to turn on the fact that he is thought of as good-looking.
Ridiculous.
What?
That's ridiculous.
And all these extraordinarily, I don't know, what would you call people who are in love with him or sympathize with him or
mentally ill?
But what about these people that want to marry people in jail?
Manson did that. Remember, Charles Manson had those women, right?
Yeah, but you see these women outside and they're like, I don't know. It looks like, the Bobby Soxers,
right,
Frank Sinatra, or the people for Elvis Presley.
They generally
but Elvis Presley and Frank Sinatra didn't blow somebody away.
Certainly not some.
And all this hatred for these healthcare guys. I mean, this is a two-way street.
Right.
Here you go. I mean, wouldn't you like to look in their brain? Is there anything there?
Let's listen to them, should we?
Do they talk?
His children are better off without him. They need to learn to not be like their dad and enjoy the blood money, kids.
What was that? I didn't get that, what you said.
I'm standing on business. Fuck Brian Thompson. I don't give a flying fuck who died. Millions of Americans.
Do they have children?
Millions of Americans.
I don't. They must be. They can't have kids. No woman will.
I mean, we hope not, because we didn't bringing them up.
Because of how negligent her health insurance was, she died. An infant died. So if you guys are okay with someone like Brian Thompson being around and that being a part of our society, that's
now, you see, it's ridiculous to even listen to her, except for the fact that there's some fair number of people, right?
Yeah.
That agree with her.
Right.
Now, do we make too much of it? Is it really an insignificant number of people when you think about it in a country our size? We're 350 million. I mean, just watch her expressions. And what would you say just in a flake, right? She's a flake.
Right. I would say
she's a silly looking flake.
Right. 3 people in a country, like you said.
The other 2 look more reasonable than her. She looks like she's dressed up for who knows what, her appearance on the Howdy Doody show or something. Like she's never grown up.
But they don't come off as very intelligent. They come off as...
Well, how could you be intelligent and support a guy who committed cold-blooded murder?
Right.
Because he's good looking.
And they don't seem to understand what they're suggesting is that any individual could determine for themselves that the actions of another individual are harmful to humanity. Therefore, they must be shot in the back of the head on the spot. They're clearly not thinking this through. They're narcissists. It's part of this new culture, Mayor. But there needs to be repercussions. They should have been shamed on the spot. Somebody should have gone up to them. If you're a member of the press, because they were credentialed press for Mamdani. Oh no, sorry, for the
who they are?
They are credentialed.
Those girls?
Yes, they got media credentials from the city of New York.
Wait a second.
What she's wearing. Look what she's wearing right there.
Those flakes were.
Yeah, that's why we're even bringing this up, right, Mayor? Like you said, there's nutty people all over the place. They were given press credentials by the city of New York, Mayor Mamdani. those should have been revoked immediately afterwards. We would have said the same thing if it was, somebody celebrating any of these other, anybody getting murdered in cold blood. But they have press credentials, Mayor, and that should have changed today. They should have been revoked immediately.
Well, I don't know. I am still on the fence as to whether or not this is a very dangerous phenomenon, or it's a very limited phenomenon that we're making a lot of. I tend to think it's the first. I don't see this as the same as the problem that we have with transgender violence or with extremist Islamic violence. I see this really as a group of unfortunate, low, as Trump likes to say, low IQ people who can't figure their way out of anything. I do hope they don't have influence on children, though.
Well, right, and that's why you got to nip this in the bud. Somebody should have called them out. You don't have to get into a fight with them. Just say, "What are you saying?" and shout them down. And hopefully, responsible people will speak out, similar to Charlie Kirk, right, and his murder.
Mm-hmm.
And all those people, they were shamed, fired. That needs to happen. Those 3 women should have been shamed, shouted down, and told to take a hike. And the mayor's office should have revoked those press credentials.
Well, they're not press.
Well, clearly not.
I mean, we don't even cover it because I consider it, but I think we should cover it in order to balance it a little. Right?
Right. What's that?
The Mangione case.
Of course we should cover it. And it is interesting. The judge of the case, we just had his picture up.
So I believe this Sunday, Ted, is one of my more favorite parades in New York. Is the Israeli Independence Parade.
It's this Sunday,
I believe.
Oh,
so.
You won't be here.
And I used to march in it with all the rabbis, and I had some of my fun times there. And then, of course, around today or tomorrow, what's today? Today's Tuesday, right? Probably tomorrow, Wednesday, we would have a reception at Gracie Mansion.
Yeah.
For all of the people organizing the parade, to thank them, and also so they could get to meet each other. For the Grand Marshal, so they get to meet. Now, we do this for all the parades. We do that for St. Patrick's. We do it for the Dominican Parade. We do it for the Columbus Parade. We do it for the Indian and Pakistan Parade. The Gracie Mansion is one party after another.
Right.
And often, and again, it built a ballroom. My predecessor built a ballroom.
Dinkins?
No. Mayor Lindsay.
Oh.
Or maybe it was Mayor Wagner originally built a ballroom. The Gracie Mansion is an extension of a smaller home, and ends up being
that's an interesting way to describe it.
Probably extended before even the ballroom 2 or 3 times. LaGuardia moved into it in the 40s. Right during the war or right before the war. Before that, the mayor lived in different places, and they were having difficulties. They were having difficulties protecting him, so they required and LaGuardia liked it. He used to go to different places.
Really?
Each stay for a while at a house that now is a golf course in Queens. Stay a house in the Bronx that used to be right near Hamilton's house. He used to stay at, I don't know if he ever used the one in the Bronx. I think he did. He may have used 2 different ones in the Bronx. New York has a lot of these beautiful homes. I don't know if he used some in Brooklyn, but there's some beautiful homes in Brooklyn too. And a lot of them are in the Department of Parks. So they are owned and they're used now as a lot of them are used as museums by the city. But he used to like moving around. LaGuardia was like a kind of a cool guy.
Right.
But Robert Moses, who often was considered the most powerful guy in the city, not really under LaGuardia, even really after LaGuardia, but someone LaGuardia worked with very closely, finally talked him into the wisdom of one place, Fiorello, one place, so that we don't have to keep, it's costing us money and it's difficult. So pick one. So he picked Gracie Mansion, and then the mayor's been there since then. So many of the mainstream Jewish groups are not going to the Jewish celebration at Gracie Mansion. And if I were Jewish, I would, of course, not go to a celebration being held by and the first lady or wherever she calls herself, and the mayor usually do it together. So here I'm going to go to the two biggest Jew haters in the city for a party. I mean, I don't know if I'd go to a Columbus thing. They hate it. They hate Catholics pretty much. He didn't go to the installation of the Cardinal Archbishop, the only mayor never to do that. It'd be really hard for me to want to show up for St. Patrick's Day for him, which is a religious parade. But I sure wouldn't go to a celebration of Israeli independence. God, they want to get rid of it from the river to the sea. Mm-hmm. They want to starve it through boycott. Mm-hmm. We're going to go celebrate the independence of a country they want to destroy. It's absurd. Thank you for these Jewish groups that aren't going.
Some are. I was shocked.
And I think everybody that goes, somebody should take a picture of them.
Yeah. What is going on?
Rabbi Joe Potasnik, you know Joe.
Yeah.
You met Joe at ABC.
Yeah.
Got the best sense of humor of any rabbi that ever lived.
Right.
Jewish heritage should include recognition of the state of Israel. Jewish history didn't end in 1946. We will be marching in the Israeli Day Parade to express our support for Israel. Here's somebody supporting it. Rabbi David Niederman is going to attend.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, there are people attending.
I would say there should be a, they can't excommunicate you as a Jew, but right at the door, going in there should be the excommunication rabbi. Mm-hmm. By the way, who should show up at the Senate and get rid of Schumer,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
Who now, who interfered in the Israeli election, who's done everything he can to hurt the state of Israel. So the United States has pulled off now grabbing Alex Saab. Alex Saab is the guy who was the bag man for Maduro. This makes the case against Maduro that much stronger and more solid. And it means they can take everything away from him through the RICO statute, which is an equivalent of the RICO statute under the terrorist statute. And he'll be poverty stricken, whether in jail, out of jail, around jail, and his family will too. So I'm looking forward to these guys opening their big fat mouths.
Does this guy have a pardon from Biden? I'm reading.
Of course, he has a pardon from Biden.
Well, that raises questions.
It's probably not valid because it's done by an auto pen.
So how? So
well,
so how are we able
Ted,
to?
You're remarkably naive. I mean, you don't think that the Bidens were in with Maduro?
But this raises more questions.
The minute he came into office, he reestablished Maduro. Trump had isolated him completely.
So he's being arrested on new charges.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a small part of Biden's criminality that nobody pays much attention.
I was going to say, right? We focus on everything else. I don't remember us ever discussing this guy.
There's no question that the Democrat Party was playing ball with Maduro and Chavez.
There's got to
forever.
be more there.
Who invented the machines for screwing up elections?
Venezuela.
Chavez. They went down for a meeting.
And you remember how the media would laugh?
The one they lie about. But that meeting took place. It's actually confirmed in a CIA report that I hope we're not destroying that one too. Can you explain to me why the Trump administration is helping to conceal things and letting the CIA still lie?
Right. And you know this better than
what they did with Senator Rand's witness is an abomination. That man told the absolute truth.
That's right, Mayor.
And the CIA under President Trump lied.
That's right, Mayor. And so the question is, well, the realization is that,
And they won't give me my affidavit. That's the Justice Department and I don't know who else.
that's right, Mayor. That's right, Mayor. And it just goes to show that even as president of the United States, you know, you're trying to stay on top of 100 different things at any given moment. And so there are bad actors throughout government, no matter how, you know, much how well the president has done in staffing his administration at the top levels. There are people jamming him up in his administration.
Yeah, he can't
throughout
keep on
government.
top of everything.
And you
know,
can't,
and
no person could.
you feel like you have to call him about everything.
Right. I mean, this is just one thing.
But I don't understand this. I was last week in a state of shock after that guy testified and they went and attacked him. And basically everything he's saying, I know to be true. Everything he's saying, I know to be true about Fauci.
Right. Mayor, you've worked with these CIA types and you know, I haven't worked with them. And so, I mean, it's not hard for me to imagine. And the president used to talk about this a lot, right? The deep state. The deep state is very real. And oftentimes it's these unelected bureaucrats who take it upon themselves to run the administration and call the shots. We elected Donald J. Trump as president of the United States. He is the president. And a lot of these folks, they've been in the CIA 20, 30, 40 years. They don't care. You know, they're waiting for Trump to go. You know, they look at the presidency as a nuisance, as somebody in the way of what they really want to do. And so it leads to this sort of stuff. And we got to get some answers. And Tulsi Gabbard appears to be asking questions on this, right? She does want answers.
The real question about this is how bad is it? I mean, how deep does it go?
How deep does it go? And the president has to weigh, every day. There's only so many days that you're president, and this is a massive problem. But what is he? You know, it would take everything he's got just to start digging out the rot inside the CIA and the deep state.
No, I mean,
so what do we do?
They're doing this. He's got a war going on. He's
building a ball
to take care of.
Building a massive ballroom, right? And he's hands on with that construction project. All these elections, right? I mean, and so, Mayor, what's your advice on this, Mayor? There's only so much you can do. You're president for so long. He's got less than 3 years left in office.
I call in Tulsi and the head of the CIA, and I said, "What the F is going on? What are you screwing around with that witness for? Show it to me."
Right.
Show it. And then I call Rand Paul and I sit them all down. I say, "Rand, give me what you got. Let me see. You seem to have an airtight case that the CIA was covering up for Fauci. They sure as hell were. The things they were saying turned out to be patently absurd. Of course, from day one, we all knew that it came from the laboratory. I knew it immediately. Dr. Maria knew it before me. Every single bit of information put out about the bats and about the market and about other ways, and every single bit of it was communist conspiracy, propaganda, lying, in which Fauci, a thief and a communist, was participating because he was and he did make millions and millions of dollars. That's just the truth. That's what happened. You can bullshit all you want. That is what happened. That is essentially what the whistleblower is telling us. With any of us with intelligence and the ability to see things and not be afraid knows the truth. And the CIA ripped him apart as a liar and someone who doesn't tell the truth and someone who didn't go through their. I mean, if he went through their process, he might not even be able to show up. He might have taken his tongue out. Who the hell knows? Instead of the guy getting an award from the CIA and the CIA saying, "We're never going to be like that again, ever, ever, ever." That's what frightens you. The way they were is extraordinarily dangerous to you and me, to our democracy. What they're doing right now is extraordinarily dangerous. And if there's a reason I'm missing, somebody's got to point it out. That's why the president's got to get them all in and sit them all down. And what does the CIA have that indicates this guy's not telling the truth? What does it have? I believe it has nothing. And I was there at the time. I believe they are lying their ass off now, today. And if it doesn't get fixed, it doesn't get fixed. And the CIA will go on lying about this and that and the other thing.
Right.
And if you don't fix it, who knows when they're going to screw you up again. Mark Furman, who was the famous detective in the O.J. Simpson trial, died. Mark went on to have quite a good career as a commentator and expert private detective. I knew Mark. And of course, he was absolutely right about O.J. Simpson, who got away with murder. I want you to see this, Ted. Can you put this up? What I have here?
Yeah, of course. I love that.
After 15 years of Democrats promising that climate change is going to destroy the planet, the United Nations Top Climate Committee just admitted that its own projections, RCP 8.5, were wrong. Okay, now where are the apologies? Where does and how about giving some of the money back, Fat Gore? Huh? How about that?
That's
Weren't we gonna be destroyed by waves
by 2010 or something?
Yeah, 2010. Yeah, that's a while ago.
Yeah.
And the other one, the girl that runs around looking like
she's an adult now. We can make fun of her.
She's
right?
not. She's not an adult. Come on, she'll never be an adult.
I see what you're saying, but they use
she's
that.
She's now working for Hamas.
Oh God, you can't even laugh at that. That's child abuse.
But she had us gone 3 different times.
Yeah,
and then she comes back. It's like the weatherman,
right. With a different issue though.
Yeah,
right? It's almost
the
like
world is going to end in 2010. You better give us all the money that we want now.
Then it was Gaza, right? And the next issue.
Now we're 2015. The world is going to end in 2018. The waves are going to overcome.
Yeah. She was some kid.
You gotta stop.
Yeah.
You can't walk. You can't go out. You can't use your car.
We're supposed to listen to some kid, some 13-year-old girl is going to tell what.
Here's the real thing. This report, which comes from them, is that it was severely exaggerated. It isn't that it's wrong. The real question is, it was definitely a hoax in the extent that there might be some grain of truth to it, exaggerated. Right, Ted?
Right.
Or was it completely false?
What do you think?
I think it was completely false in the sense that it was nothing more than what this universe has had to deal with. I don't think there's anything we're doing to the universe that the universe can't handle. That's well within the range of this universe.
That's a good way of.
And I think that what we when we see changes, they're changes that would have happened anyway. And even if the changes are somewhat accelerated by the pathetic little tiny ants that we are, which I find very here, my biggest problem with it from the very beginning is a much more intelligent view of the universe than they have, which is we are little teeny ants. The impact of what we do, I would think would have a very, very little, if any, impact on anything. I think we could blow this damn place up and it wouldn't matter for the rest of the universe. Maybe if we went crashing into another planet or something. Just look at it. Look at the size of it. Look at the expanse of it. If you take a horrible poison that would destroy an entire city and you stick it in the Atlantic Ocean, it goes away in a day. Every time they do the oil spills, they exaggerate it. It's going to take 20 years for the water around Louisiana to be. It's perfect now because the ocean is so vast. And then here's the part that I find completely criminal. Even the ones who believed in some of it, and I say believed because they made a religion out of it, then exaggerated it, distorted it, and used it as a scam. That has actually really distorted our society. I think that this is going to help a lot in straightening out even European economies who have been affected by this even more than we were. I do recommend to you, with regard to all of this lying, whether we're talking about COVID or we're talking about climate change, I recommend Miranda Devine's column of today about Fauci and about the indictment of his, as she describes it, his former factotum, otherwise known as Bagman, David Morenz. Now, Biden has given Fauci a pardon, but Trump has declared the pardon invalid because Biden never signed it. And there may be some statements and perjuries that he did after that, because he's not pardoned in futuro. Now, Francis Collins, who was Fauci's boss and a co-conspirator, did not get a pardon. And whistleblower James Erdman has testimony that is extraordinarily damning to all of them.
Wow.
And if, in fact, the president would do what I said and straighten the CIA torture of Erdman out,
Right.
you're going to see a lot of witnesses come forward.
Yep.
And I believe, and if that happens, I believe there's forget the pardon. I believe there's a way to prosecute
Right.
jerk off. In fact, I'm sure of it. Beyond the statute of limitations and beyond the pardon, because I think he committed crimes after it. I think. I'm not sure. I'd have to investigate. But it makes sense to me that he did.
Right.
And the fact that he's still hiding his financial statement and how much money he made from this and who he got it from. Let's just say he is now living off the proceeds of what he got, then that's a continuing crime. The fact that you were pardoned for the early part of it has nothing to do with the crime today. He's also not free of civil RICO. We can take it all from Fauci, and he can go back to where he came from, a rat cave.
Wow.
Men kill people. I want you to remember one statement from Fauci, and then you'll know everything you need to know about this little piece of crap. When it was alleged that the Chinese were behind this, and they sent their people around the world to infect other people, which they absolutely did, he said the Chinese would never do anything to imperil the health of their own people. After 4 days of laughing, I was able to react to it, since he actually went and picked a country that has killed more of its own people than any country in the history of the world. The Chinese Communist Party specializes in killing their own people. They're doing it right now.
Right.
The only country that even matches them is Iran, which please, let's get rid of them. Huh? Now, there is a column from The Guardian. I don't know if this is pre or post Trump's statement or revelation that he should wait. But it says that Bibi and Trump have worked out a plan that's just ready to go to resume hostilities.
Right.
And Tehran has made some concessions, but none of them really hit the goal. A long-term suspension of the nuclear program, but they got to end it. The transfer of the uranium to Russia. What? And phased reopening of the Gulf of Hormuz. None of which meets what we want, and all of which is denied by the IRGC, who says they're going to impose tolls
Right.
on Gaza.
Right.
So
it'll be interesting, right, to see.
So they have arrested 6,500 traitors and spies. They have executed a large number of them, and we don't know how many. We don't know how many. In recent days, they've executed 26 people.
Wow.
About 16 of which were members of the MEK. And remember, watch for whether they allow the Nepo Shah, son of a murderer and a thief who murdered the Iranian people and stole all their money, if they allow him to speak, because the Europeans are silly fops. In Nigeria, along with the Nigerians, we're getting their army to start operating to protect Christians.
Right.
We killed the number one guy with ISIS, Abu Bilal al-Manuki, and a group of his followers, several of his lieutenants. This is the place where they're not persecuting Christians, they're just killing them. Oh, and then sometimes they torture them before they kill them. But Trump isn't telling the truth.
It's just absurd.
Minnesota has charged an ICE officer, Christian Castro, with 4 counts of second-degree assault and 1 count of falsely reporting a crime, shooting Julio Sosa Cheles. They say he did it without I don't know. The federal authorities accuse Sosa Cheles and Alfredo Alejandro Aljona of beating an officer with a broom handle and a snow shovel, but a federal judge dismissed the charges.
Wow. Wow.
So now they've been indicted, and I do not understand how the state is getting to why this case isn't removed to federal court. The guy's a federal agent. He's not going to get a fair trial in what is corrupt, top to bottom city of Minneapolis. The Somalis took all their money, made them look like fools. Their governor, if he isn't an agent for the Red Chinese, he pretends he is, makes it look like he is.
Right.
And he is also one of the most disloyal, traitorous, scumbag Americans that ever lived.
Yep.
So
That's right, Mayor.
you keep watching and we need you back tomorrow because we want to see what happens with this.
It's looking like a runoff for Georgia.
Yep, we're going to get to that at the end here.
Oh, sorry. You were talking specifically.
Now, a judge in New York, U.S. District Judge P. Kevin Castell, issued an order stopping federal agents from conducting arrests in courts.
How does that work?
I don't know. They can't make arrests at 26 Federal Plaza, 201 Varick Street, or 290 Broadway.
Can a state court judge
To stay the ICE policy, barring federal agents from arresting people at 3 Manhattan immigration courts, 26 Federal Plaza, 201 Varick Street, 290 Broadway.
Wow.
Got to be reversed. I mean,
Right.
where does that come from? Where does that come from? Please take a look at the report on the October 7, 2022 Hamas inhuman, animalistic, barbaric terrorist attack on innocent people in the state of Israel. That, of course, led to all of this.
Yes.
The report is done by a group on which this is not a group of righties on this board.
No.
If I may, let me just give you. I mean, I don't recognize a single righty on this board. Former Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton, Irwin Cotler, Attorney General of Canada, France's Ambassador at Large for Human Rights, Isabel Rome, the Chief Prosecutor of the UN Special Court, Aaron Barak, President of the Supreme Court of Israel, who I believe was a left-wing member of the government at one time.
Yep.
I don't see a righty on here. On the other hand, what I see, and I've read only the executive summary, I'm going to read the whole thing. It's irrefutable evidence that Hamas raped children, raped women, did it in front of their parents or the husband, killed people in front of their parents or child, and took hostages. That the major focus was a purely civilian attack. This isn't the Israelis were hiding behind civilians. These were just purely civilian venues. And the idea from the reports that have been found planning it is that it was designed that way. This is one of the most barbaric acts that we can document in human history.
Yep.
By a group that is supported by a large segment of young Americans. And get at least the executive summary. You can get it online. I don't know if they'll have it out as a book, but here it is right here.
Wow.
You know, you can build your own. You can build your own online business with Stick and Mule Pro. It's only $9 a month, and it comes with everything you need to sell patriotic merchandise online. You get an e-commerce store, an e-marketing facility, SMS marketing, a customer service platform, and much more. Sign up today at stickermule.com/pro, stickermule.com/pro, and use code Rudy for 3 full months. You'll get it for free if you use code Rudy. And what a time to do it for the anniversary, huh?
Right.
We're coming into some of the big events, so it's time. So now, do you want to bring us up to date, Ted?
I just need a second. I'm still kind of going through here. If you can give me another second. I'm not ready. Not yet.
Okay.
I got lost on the board. Just give me 2 seconds, but I will. Yes, I'll be ready.
Well, then you're going to have to give me.
Well, we'll go right into it. Let's do it. So
No. I tell you what.
No,
Why
we
don't we
can-
take a short break, and then I'll be back, and then you bring it back in, okay?
Okay. Let's
Okay?
do that. All right.
Thank
Yes.
you, Ted.
All right. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
after this short
Mhm.
break. Sorry.
U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Welcome back. We want to just give you some updates on the elections. Of course, we talked about Thomas Massie losing to war hero and fifth generation farmer Ed Gallrein. That, of course, the race to watch tonight. But of course, elections are happening across the country, primary elections in a number of states. Of course, we talked about Georgia. We'll want to get an update on what's happening in Georgia, but also Oregon, Pennsylvania, Alabama had races tonight as well. So we'll want to get updates from across the country and some of these other races. So in the state of Georgia, we've been watching that closely. Our friend Vernon Jones, a lot of you know Vernon, he's down by 10 points with 43% of the vote in to Tim Fleming. We don't know Tim.
Weren't able to get him on the phone?
We were not. He's probably at his
Of course.
party, but I know another person that's close to him. We can see if she can get through to him. Mike Collins is leading the race, the Republican primary for governor. We'll bring it to you and then I'll go put it on there. Okay. How about that? But let's just finish with Georgia. Georgia primary results for the Senate race. Mike Collins is leading with 46% in. Derek Dooley in second place. That'll likely go to a runoff. And then that was the Senate race. For governor, Burt Jones and Rick Jackson will head to a runoff. Burt Jones, 38%, Rick Jackson, 33%. Brad Raffensperger got 14% of the vote.
Oh, too bad. It must have been people he paid.
So we'll come back to you, Mayor. And so we'll keep you up to date on all these elections. Maybe we'll post some updates online, if anything.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
So what do we got there?
So we talked about we just went over the big ones. These are the ones people will want to know. And then we'll go to Georgia. Mike Collins is leading, but will likely not get over this.
Yeah, I guess it. What
46%.
That's all they got in 46.
Yep.
What are they doing? Shutting things down again?
Right. So we'll stay on top of this. And these races throughout the evening. Check the mayor's social media, and also this is what we have for the Senate race right here. There's a lot of moving parts. Gotta move this. So we got, as you can see, this is the, here we go. Here's the Senate race. There's a damn thing.
So I see Collins, and I see that 46% are in. and he's definitely in the runoff, I would say. And right now, it looks like the football coach will be his rival. Is that correct?
That's
Dooley?
correct. Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Well, only 46. Julie only has a 2-point lead over Buddy Carter.
Yeah, I should have. I probably am premature with that.
And then for governor, Burt Jones, Rick Jackson headed to a runoff. That's the key race.
Let me see. And where do they stand? Jonesy ahead?
Yep.
That's good.
Right. So we'll watch those closely. We'll give you updates throughout the night if anything, anything major occurs in these
Well,
races.
I mean, I'm very, very supportive of Jones. But the real key here is to get rid of the villain.
Yep.
And I don't think people have any idea the way he was covered by the press, how bad a villain he is,
Right.
including that telephone conversation in which he framed the president.
Right. Right.
This is an extraordinarily bad guy.
Right. And got the camera back on.
And no one knows it better than me.
Right.
And he is at the core of the
coming back to
doctoring
you.
of the tape that you and I discovered.
Right.
Or the prosecutor is. The prosecutor blames it on him.
Right.
That's
So-
the New York prosecutor for the disbarment.
Right.
Give
Well,
you
we
an
got to
idea.
revisit. Yeah.
Give you an idea how fair that is.
Right. That needs to be fixed as well. So that's what we have. We'll keep you up to date on these races. Of course, the big news of the night: Thomas Massie going down after spending years just going after Trump
After spending years making a fool out of himself.
Right, but yeah, exactly. And he really made a bad calculation. He thought that was going to work. He thought he was bigger than the president, and I think he learned that the Republican Party. It's a closed primary in Kentucky. But I think he learned that
It's about an entire country and a whole program, and not just you, Massie.
and the Republican Party stands with President Trump and really sent a message that this is our president, and they sent a message that they don't take kindly to these grandstanders who seem to want to make everything.
So
about
I guess
themselves.
Boebert is next, huh?
Boebert. We'll start looking at.
She got a
You gotta get-
primary
now,
going on.
here's the thing. Well, I'm going to look into that, but you got to have a good candidate. It appeared they had a really good candidate in Ed Gall. I mean, the guy's a war veteran, a combat veteran, Navy SEAL, 5th generation farmer.
Oh, come on. Yeah, great.
I mean, geez, right? How do you beat that in Kentucky? And Thomas Massie, his shtick just kind of ran out on people.
Well, we want to thank you very, very much for listening in tonight. We certainly enjoyed having you with us. We really appreciate all of you who listen to us. We urge you to make your contribution to t2t.org. I know they're on as an advertisement, but I want to re-emphasize that. Okay. We also want to emphasize all of our products are really, really good. You will never get a better coffee than Rudy's Coffee. I mean it. Try it and let me know. Okay.
Try that, yeah.
Pray for the people of Israel. Pray for the people of Ukraine. And of course, pray for the people of Iran who are on the verge of being delivered from years, really 100 years of the Shah and the Ayatollah.
Right.
And pray for the President of the United States. I don't know of a president who's had to make in succession more consequential decisions than this, with less clarity available than usual, not because of him and not because of even the people around him, but because of the condition of the world. You've been exceedingly gracious, God, so we're asking for a lot. You've been very good to us. You've been very good to America. You've been very good to me. You've been very good to my president, our president, and my family. And we just ask that you shine your grace on us so that we can pay back. Remember, say a prayer tonight for all the intentions that I gave you, if you can and if you want, and also for your own. It's always good to communicate and understand that we're just part of a much bigger bigger kingdom. And the best way to deal with it is to do the best you can to love everyone. God bless America. It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze,